I certainly support that the 1B money be used for chip seal projects and overlays, and that's, it gets the biggest bang for the buck. It takes care of, I think they figure about $1 million takes care of about 25 miles of chip sealing is roughly what I read in here. Yeah. So, it really, especially coming from a district that has a lot of its roads that are don't have any sort of pavement on it yet. They're still dirt roads. And maybe if we can get some of our medium-shaped roads back in shape, maybe some point in time we can get some of our heaviest travel roads that are still dirt roads chip sealed, or at least portions of it. So I would hate to see this board deviate. And we have a list of projects that's been on the docket for a dozen years or more, and I'm certainly not in support of basically supplementing state projects to use our 1B dollars for, because in reality, the state of California, Caltrans, is in a lot better condition to support their own projects with a bigger percentage than the county taking our very limited 1B dollars and putting into state projects. So I'd like to keep on track with keeping our 1B projects totally on overlays and chip seals, and it's going to give us the biggest bang for the buck. And also, every mile of road that's chip sealed, that basically eliminates probably 90% of the maintenance for about a 15-year period. So it's a real, especially in light of we have a workforce in our Department of Transportation that's down 17 positions in the last 10 years. So this is one way that we can compensate for that loss of a maintenance crews, is by chip sealing some of these roads. So to me, this is the third time we've discussed that. I hope we can keep this on track and give clear direction to the Department of Transportation to use the 1B funds for our chip seal and overlay projects wherever the Department of Transportation deems it's appropriate to do that.
Supervisor Domer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Pinches, I concur with you. I would only ask then that if you would be supportive of using a portion of that to begin the right-of-way acquisition process, we can at least try to get a project ready to go. So if state or federal funds do break free, that we're in a better position to go after those.
Well, if it'll speed up the process, certainly, but Howard just said they're expecting the $400,000 in July, and we don't really do any of this chip seal until after that anyway. I mean, you say a portion of it, we got $404,000 to deal with, so what would be a portion?
I don't know. I'd leave it up to the director to at least begin that process and get a jump start on it.
Of course, if we did use some of the 1B funding and then the $400,000 come in for that project, could you pay the chip sealing program back? How would that work?
I understand that if you spend money before your STIP allocation, that you don't get that back. So
see, that'd be a problem. But in any case, if that comes in July, I don't think we're really, because either project don't normally get going much before that anyway, does it?
No.
Like you don't start the chip seal programs before or you didn't this last year.
Right.
Well, it's this stimulus package, if that is successful in the governor's meetings that they had with President-elect is successful and is an attempt to get things started, they break free some dollars for projects now. If we don't even begin the right-of-way process until July, we may miss an opportunity to fund a project out of dollars that we don't even have at this point. It's an opportunity here that I think it's the only thing that I know that we're that close to having on the shelf ready to go.
But if you spend the 1B dollars for doing that, then as Howard just stated, we're not going to be able to get that reimbursable.
That portion of the right-of-way, correct?
So it's
understood, but that's the dollars that are there, and the STIP would still be towards construction. We're not losing that, but if we can, I don't believe we're going to blow through. I don't think, maybe Mr. DeShiel would be more optimistic than I am, but I don't think we'd be blowing through a whole lot of this between now and then, but at least we get started on that right-of-way part of it. Because that's a biggie.
Well,
okay. Supervisor Koufax.
Well, it sounds like we're trying to kind of divide up this little pot, and if we are, I think it's important to recognize the fact is we do have one project on this list that's also been out there as long as any one of them. That's the Simpson Lane project. And my take on it would be here that if we do not show some commitment, and certainly not the commitment that Caltrans would hope to get from us, but indicate that we are moving forward to the point of committing perhaps $100,000 at this point, and perhaps more some other point as funds come forward by whatever means, that would be as appropriate as anything that's been brought forward at this time. That would not compromise, it would reduce, but it would not compromise the general sense that we have different projects in the different districts. We have a long-term project there that Supervisor Delbar and I have been dealing with for a dozen or 10 years, respectively, and that the Simpson Road project Simpson Lane project has been out there for a long, long time. It's not in my district, but people who drive from my district to the nearest shopping area encounter that threat on a daily basis, and it is threatening. It's amazing we don't have a higher rate of accidents there than we already do. But I would suggest here is that if we're going to start playing, I'll trade you this for that, and I'll trade you that for this, I would say here then I'll put in my bid for 1/4 of that amount for the Simpson project as a sign of interest. We are going to be talking to Caltrans here in January or February, I understand. And I know that the director of Caltrans, regional director of Caltrans, has shown a great deal of interest in seeing this project move forward. It's high on the list with Caltrans. And but at the same time, we need to show that we are willing to provide some. I share Supervisor Pinch's concern about the county coming in when Caltrans is the big money bags in the project. But if we just stand back and wait for that to happen, we'll be talking about that 10 more years from now. Probably won't be all of us up here worrying about it, but we are continuing. So I would simply suggest here that we go with the two projects, the Potter Valley Road project and the Stip Lane project, taking half that money, and stick to the $200,000 for chip seal work in the rest of the districts to be distributed out. If that's the way we're going to play this particular hand, then I think that would be a fair way of playing it. Given the fact we don't have a whole lot of money to deal with or expend at this time, I think that would be fair, and then we'll scrounge around and see what comes forward in each of these different areas, but at least it would address each of the concerns of the supervisors who are sitting up here. It might not go far enough in any of the cases, but it would be nominally important. We can adjust it. We can come back and revisit this as we get closer to funding sources, as we see things shake out over the next 6 months or a year from now. So that would be my suggestion at this point. And again, it's one way to play the hand, and I think it would be the fairest way to play the hand.
Thank you. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed in the audience there are a number of folks here from the Coast.